How's it going, everyone? My name is Stephen Michaels. I am with Philip Robinson. This is the Just Win Show where we debate all the topics, the hot topics of the day. What's up, Phil?
What's going on, Steven? How are you?
Oh, I'm getting ready for football. We had one game last night. Tom Brady unfortunately won, and he's still walking. That's terrible. But
Cowboys.
we got a
Uh,
big game,
yeah, Cowboys
big
picked
game
that up
tonight.
royally, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No. I don't want to talk about Tom Brady. We're here to talk about the silver and black going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Monday Night Football, primetime game, huge game. So let's get it underway here. What is the first topic of the day?
Topic number one is the most important aspect to football. The best ability is availability. And right now, the Baltimore Ravens have a lot of unavailable players. With all the Ravens injuries, how does that shape out for the silver and black?
Well, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, first of all, the Ravens are banged up. I mean, they have a lot of injuries here. They just lost Marcus Peters, big plus for the Raiders, right? Because I believe Derek Carr throws a lot of interceptions to Marcus Peters, I believe, anyways. And J.K. Dobbins is out. They have so many injuries. They don't even have a running back right now. They have no running back whatsoever. They're signing guys off the street. They do still have that Tyson Williams guy who is supposed to be really good. The Raiders have been watching him during, leading up to this game, but they lost everyone. They really did. I mean, this is a big advantage to the Raiders, for the Raiders, they should say.
No,
so what are your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, to me, with Marcus Peters going down, that really compromises the back end of that defense because a lot of what they do is predicated off the zone behind the blitz, and Marcus Peters is a fabulous zone corner. But now you're looking at what is it? Not Lattimore, but the other corner who's got to shadow Darren Waller and work with the safety and possibly a linebacker to double him. And you're going to have these wide receivers, these second-year wideouts in Hunter Renfrow especially, are going to be able to find some room to work because they're going to be facing a backup out there, which should be the primary focus on that. But we'll get that a little bit down the road a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean they still got Marlon Humphrey back there, and they got Jimmy Smith. We'll see if he has anything left. Anthony Everett looks like he's gonna be the backup to Marcus Peters. The Derek Carr and the Raiders offense, they need to go after that right away. Right. They really do. And this has to be a game where you can do dink and dunks. You know what I mean? Darren Waller should be open a lot in this game. This should be a game where we see a lot of Bryan Edwards, in my opinion, and we might see a lot of Willie Snead just because of all these injuries. This is a guy, all these slot guys, Hunter Renfrow, Willie Snead, they should have a big day, big night, I should say.
Yes,
they should.
Very big night. But just to wrap it up real quick, and all of the Raiders are playing the Ravens' second team offense except for the starting line and some guys they rounded up and pulled off the streets at running back. I mean, the Ravens literally have season-ending injuries to every running back they had on the depth chart. That's crazy. I've never seen that before in all my years of football. But this defensively, there's really no excuses for what they have not being able to go out here and get it done. So we'll move on to topic number 2. Will Richie Incognito be able to play on that injured calf? He's not practicing. They've held him out of training camp. He's coming off the Achilles injury. He's 157 years old. Can Richie play? Will Richie play?
Slow down over there with your microphone. You're throwing things around again. Richie Incognito, in my opinion, will play in this game. I think they're just holding him out because, like you said, he is 152 years old. And, why rush him out there for practice when, you don't want to get this guy injured in practice. So I think he will end up playing. My biggest fear is they do rush him out to play and he gets injured in the game. And that's what I'm most concerned about, because I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried about this Raiders offensive line. It's the first time we're going to see them, with Andre James on our center. You got pretty much a whole new offensive line, basically. So it's going to be something to see. Can they hold up? How good are they? Can Derek Carr get the ball out of his hands really fast? And the most important is, can this new offensive line open up holes for the running backs for Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake?
Well, I would say that the most important thing would be, can they pick up a blitz? Because from what I saw during the preseason, that's what's the real issue, is can they pick up a damn blitz? I fully expect Incognito to play, and I echo your concerns. I mean, I was being facetious with 157 years old, but the Achilles injury, 38 years old, headed into the season, and hurt in the preseason, that's not a recipe for longevity. And that's John Simpson needs to be ready to play now. And from what I saw in the preseason, us having to go with him being the starting left guard for, well, let's be generous and let's say maybe 13 games or more is frightening to me.
Yeah, they might want to sign some O-line depth. You know what I mean? I mean, just in case, because Richie Incognito is old. You know what I mean? There's no way getting around that. He is old. He's a big boy. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of weight to be carrying around. And that's, when you get that old, that's why those guys retire. You know what I mean? Because the injuries just start mounting up. So hopefully he can play, and hopefully he still has it too. That's another thing, that we all talk about Incognito being, but the thing is, he is 37 years old. Hopefully he still does have it. He was good. Yeah, he was good last season. So
yeah, from what I've heard in training camp and what the reports were against the Rams during the joint practice sessions and individual sessions, he was holding his own just fine in one-on-one drills against Aaron Donald. So that pretty much tells me all that I need to know about, does he still have it? The question is, will his body hold up? And that's been the question for every year that he's given us quality play with the Raiders. He can be a Pro Bowler, but the problem is, can he stay on the field?
Yeah, he's good. He's good at one-on-one blocking. When he gets in trouble is when he's one-on-one and you got a blitzer coming too. Sometimes he gets a little rattled there. You know what I mean? Because he uses his big body, his frame usually to block these guys. When there's another guy coming in, sometimes he's not as fast enough to react. His reaction time sometimes isn't the best, but the guy still is one of the best offensive linemen, and the guy is, like you said, what 37 or something like that. So let's hope he does play. I think he will, and let's hope this offensive line can hold up, because the Raiders are going to need it. All right, let's go to number 3.
How to beat Ravens on offense. How do you beat this Ravens defense? I'll start it off with this. I got my own personal theory, but I think how this starts off with is like you said, they are going to squeeze the air out of the ball, attempt to score early, and trying to make Lamar Jackson play from behind. If you want him to stay in the pocket and throw the football, and that's the defensive setup. But going against this Ravens defense, you definitely have to run the ball. You got to work your two-man game off of Darren Waller and either a receiver behind him or a running back underneath, so that you can use him to clear space, feed him. He's the most dominant matchup on the field for either team, even including Lamar Jackson. And you got to pick your shot. You got to take some shots to keep them from stacking the line of scrimmage. But this whole offseason, this whole focus has been about bolstering this run game, and now's the time to show it. You don't have to worry about pass rushers when you're running the football down their throats.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly how you do beat the Ravens. You want to keep Lamar Jackson on the sidelines. You want to run that ball. That's why I paid Kenyon Drake so much money. You're going to want to use him in a screen game and in the run game. Yeah, use him early, use Josh Jacobs more in the second half of the game, keep him fresh, but just keep running and running and running. And don't give up on it way too early. I mean, John Gruden usually does not give up on it, sometimes to a fault. But he's got to keep trying to run, make a dent on a defensive line, and things will open up. And like I said, these slot wide receivers, the way the Ravens play defense, they're going to have a problem with covering guys like Willie Snead and Hunter Renfrow. Those guys are going to be open. Then when you take Marcus Peters out, it could be a big day for big night for Bryan Edwards, because I think he'll be lined up against him. And then every once in a while, Henry Ruggs with that speed, we'll see if he can get the separation off the line. We'll see how good how better he's gotten since last season. And maybe those shots that Derek Carr missed last season because the guy couldn't get off the line fast enough, maybe those are there. I think they will be. I really do. I think the Raiders beat the Ravens with speed. That's the biggest thing the Raiders built here. They have a lot of speed on that offense. And if they can utilize that correctly with Kenyon Drake, with Josh Jacobs, with Hunter Renfrow on third and Renfrow, the Raiders will be able to exploit that. Especially, we talk about how the Raiders sometimes dink and dunk too much. Derek Carr does that. In this game, you kind of want to do that. You're going to, especially with Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs, guys sneaking out of the backfield, getting out there, especially if the Ravens are playing a lot of zone, right in the middle of the field, boom. You got Darren Waller on a slant. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for the Ravens. Darren Waller should be just a nightmare for this Ravens defense. So that is the best way, I think, to beat the Ravens, is utilize all the speed you have on the field and take advantage of all the soft zones the Ravens are going to throw at you.
Oh, wow. Actually, just perfect tie-in to segue about topic number 4. So, can the Raiders slow down Lamar Jackson? Well, I just saw that hit the waiver that the Ravens are indeed putting backup at blocking tight end Nick Boyle on the IR short term so that he can return in 3 games, but he won't be playing either. So there looks to be your blocking tight end. So now you're not even looking at 12 personnel, or going with the 2 tight end sets, or at least not with your 2 best blockers. Your wide receivers are compromised. You have a healthy Sammy Watkins, Hollywood Brown with a bad hammy. Mark Andrews is a guy that you have to double. So I believe that you can crowd the line of scrimmage and do a real Belichickian thing and force Jackson to throw and keep forcing him to throw.
Yeah, I don't think you even want to. You got to remember too, the Ravens, just like the Raiders, they have a new offensive line. They have new pieces there on the offensive line. The Raiders are going to want to test those guys, just like the Ravens are going to want to test the Raiders' new offensive line. So it goes both ways. But I think the best way to do this, to slow down Lamar Jackson, is basically, stay back. Don't let him beat you over the top. He's going to run. We all know that. He's going to run for some yards. As long as he's not taking off for 80 yards, you're okay. If you can keep him to running for 4 yards, if you can pinch him on the outside, set the edges, make sure he's not, going crazy, then you can contain him. He does not have a lot of help. And with the Raiders defense, with, Ngakwe and Crosby, if those guys can get after Lamar Jackson, it's been proven. If you can hit Lamar Jackson,
yes,
you can take him off his rhythm. I don't know how many times we've seen it so far. Every time a team, this guy's been dominant. And then when he gets to a defense that starts hitting him, he starts having a hard time. So if the Raiders just take away his running ability, his scrambling ability, and make him be a pocket passer, make him beat you with his arm, I think the Raiders stand a chance there. That's the best way to slow down Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Keep the DBs back, play a lot of cover 2. I think that's the best way to do it. Just don't let him beat you with his feet, because he doesn't have a running back. There is no run game. The only run game is Lamar Jackson. So it's pretty obvious what they're going to try to do there. It's Lamar Jackson's going to run. Maybe he gets injured. I don't know.
So definitely can't. Defensive ends and outside linebackers definitely cannot crash on the read option. That definitely
No.
need to stay at home and make him give up that ball.
Yeah, yeah.
They got.
And listen, and we cannot see like we've seen last season where the Raiders can't stop a screen pass. You know, like Corey Littleton, all these guys, they got to tackle. If the Raiders tackle, that's how you slow down Lamar Jackson. Tackle the player with the football. Not that hard. Last season seemed a little hard for the Raiders. Hopefully this season it's not that hard for them.
It's a little more simplistic. I got you. That takes us to the end. Final guesses for Raiders versus Ravens. Steven, your prediction.
Okay, my prediction now, it's impossible almost to predict what's going to happen in week one. We never know how good or bad these teams are. The Ravens were good last season. The Raiders sucked last season. But I could argue this is a completely different team for the Raiders than they were last year. Yeah, they weren't that great, but they also had the worst defensive coordinator, the worst defense. On paper, they're a lot better on defense. If this defense can go out there and show what they can do, if Gus Bradley has this team that works. By the way, Gus Bradley does have success against Lamar Jackson too. So that's a little glimmer of hope there too. I think the Raiders can beat the Ravens. I know the Raiders are underdog, but remember, this is in Vegas. This is prime time. This reminds me a lot of last season when the Raiders played against the Saints and no one really gave the Raiders a chance. I think the Raiders might be down at first, but they'll be able to climb themselves up out of the hole. Remember, the Raiders did not play any preseason games. So all those guys, they're going to be a little bit rusty. And the rookies are going to be feeling the speed of the game for the very first time because you can't duplicate that in scrimmages and even in preseason. You can't duplicate the real speed of the game with, starters. So these guys are going to experience that. But I think the Raiders, they will be able to beat the Ravens. I think the Ravens are just way too banged up. I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Raiders defense with all these running backs being injured, Ravens' new offensive line. Perfect opportunity to show what they can do. The biggest thing the Raiders are going to need on defense, they got to create turnovers. If the Raiders can get an interception, force some fumbles, Lamar Jackson is known to fumble, once in a while here, make him fumble. And if Derek Carr can get the ball out of his hands fast, Darren Waller, like I said, should have a field day against the Ravens defense. And if Derek Carr, no mental errors, that'll be the biggest thing there. If he's well protected, Josh Jacob picking up blitzes and things like that, I think the Raiders can win this. I really do. I think they win it by a field goal. What do you think?
I'd like to say that I think they win it by more than a field goal. I think I've kicked this over a few times, and I think that the score is probably going to be about 28-17 Raiders. I believe that Lamar Jackson is a phenomenal athlete, and he's going to get his, but he just doesn't have enough help. There's just no way that he's going to be able to do everything that he needs to be able to keep up with the Raiders team by himself or with just Mark Andrews.
Or just Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, but with the Ravens being compromised on offense, losing Marcus Peters, this is a game. This went from a game that I thought was going to be a real test for the Raiders to a game that I feel like they should win going away. And if they don't win this game going away, then this particular podcast show is going to have a lot of questions and a lot of heat coming for the man in charge, because that would mean that he had his team woefully unready to play, and that is not going to be acceptable here.
Yeah, I think this is a game where, listen, the Raiders, they have to win this game. And if they lose, they better not get blown out. Or there will be fingers pointed at John Gruden for not playing any starters during preseason, for not having his team prepared. This is a Ravens team that is not the regular Ravens team. There's so many injuries. The Raiders must take advantage of this. This is opening night. This is really the debut of the Las Vegas Raiders in Las Vegas because there's fans there. The place is going to be rocking. You cannot let the fans down here. The Raiders need to win this game. I hope they win more than a field goal. I hope they win by 30 points. But the fact is, all they have to do just one thing. That's just win. They have to win this game. And that's the only thing we care about here on this show is winning. That's why it's called Just Win.
Just win. When we keep it nice and simple around here. Don't talk to me about stats. Don't talk to me about players. If the game does not end with a win, it was a loss.
I don't care if Derek Carr throws 10 interceptions, but the Raiders end up winning 13-10. Guess what? Derek Carr's my hero for that game because they won the game. I could give a shit about stats. I care about the standings. That's what I care about. So anyways, that's what everyone should care about. We got to start this season out right. We got to start this season out with a W, and it all starts Monday night. And we will have a show right the day after the game, and we will recap everything that happens right here on the Just Win show. So that's it, Phil. Do you got anything to promote? You got a show tonight or anything?
No, we are actually, the Unfiltered Truth is going to be live on scene in Vegas. I'm rolling out in the middle of the night, butt crack of dawn tonight to start heading down to Vegas. We're going to be doing a live show from the parking lot. We may have an event, and I got the camera ready, so you're going to be seeing the Unfiltered Truth all through Vegas.
Wow, sounds like fun. It would be hell for me, but sounds like fun for you. Anyways, okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's it. Phil will be live in Las Vegas as he watches the Raiders versus the Ravens. Hopefully he's celebrating after the game. Hopefully he's not crying. And the Raiders got to win this. So win it for Phil, John Gruden. He's flying all the way down there to Vegas just to see you guys win. So it's really important.
I'm not flying. I'm driving.
Oh, you're driving. Oh man, he's sacrificing here. He is driving. Man, driving all the way to Vegas. So pretty important game. I think that place is going to be going crazy, Las Vegas. I think the Raiders have to win just for that. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be such an important game to get the season off on the right foot. Big first game in Vegas. I'm sure Mark Davis has more ribbon cutting to do. Let's just stop the ribbon cutting and let's just start the winning. All right, everyone, that is it. My name is Stephen Michaels. That's Philip Robinson. We will see you next time on the Just Win Show.